Dr. Sujay. You can call me Dr. Fabulous. And this is about my fabulous fifth chapter. That book cover behind me, I took that picture on my 50th birthday. And you know what? Next month, I'm getting my Medicare card. What a difference. How time flies. But today is special, not just because I have friends from the other side of the aisle or race, but because we have these wonderful sons who taught us that ethnicity and race, we can go beyond that. And that we have five sons all together, and they are called the Claws. Each one of them has an initial from their name, CLAWS. C for my son Chris, L for Luis, a Dominican young man from the Upper West Side. A for Aaron, who is the son of Maria Tassani, one of my guests today. W for Will Bentley, who's the son of my other guest today, Joanne Bainey. And then S for Cyrus. These young men were together from JK, what we would call pre-K, all the way through eighth grade, but it didn't stop there. They all went to different high schools. They're still friends. They all went to different colleges. They're still friends. So it is the story of remarkable young men who, because of them, their mothers became best friends, BFFs. So I want to introduce you today to Maria Tassani, mother of Aaron, and she's got her own identity, and Joanne Bainey, mother of Will. And we all have other sons too. But Maria, tell us what you're doing now. We're so excited to have you. Thank you for joining us on my fabulous fifth chapter, Fabulous Fridays. Tell us why you're so fabulous.
Well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. It's so great to see you, even if it's virtual.
Yes.
2 years ago, my husband and I moved to Bend, Oregon. We left New York City. We didn't have jobs. At first, we were both pursuing jobs. And then I found out about an opportunity to volunteer for our county search and rescue unit. And that sounded like it was just tailor-made for me. And even though it's a volunteer position, I decided there and then I'm going to retire. I had the ability to do so. So I said, okay, I'm going to retire. And if I get in, and I did, I had to go through this very rigorous process to be accepted. I think out of 150 applicants or 120 or 30 applicants, they only chose 20, I think like 28 of us.
Wow.
So it was really an honor. And so I'm on the medical unit and the mountain rescue unit. And what we do is if someone is in the wilderness, and Bend we're blessed with, it's beautiful. You both have to come and visit me here.
We have to.
We're blessed with beautiful mountains and forests, a lot of ways to recreate. And so if you are out there and you get stuck or you get injured, you'll call 911. And if it makes sense, they will call upon us. It's almost like we have bat phones. We get a call out, and we can respond or not, but we respond. We go to our headquarters. We get in these sheriff's vehicles and drive off and, try to help people
Awesome.
out. So yeah, it's great.
And we're going to talk about the path to that, because some things happened in your fifth chapter that led to this. But Joanne Bainey, mother of Will, and certainly tell us your other son's name as well. But tell us what you're doing now, and then we're going to come back and talk about the paths to these wonderful fifth chapters.
Great. Thank you so much, Susan. And it's such a pleasure to see you again in this way. So my other son's name is Joseph. Yes. And I have two sons, William and Joseph. And what I do is I teach at Columbia University. I teach in the School of International and Public Affairs, and I teach in the business school, in executive education at the business school. And my area of expertise is management and leadership communication. So through this, I work with executives and government representatives from all over the world, and I've traveled to see them, and they've come to New York to work with me as well. Most especially, and it is my great honor to work with the New York City Fire Department and the New York City Police Department, with chiefs and precinct commanders and people of that level, to help them in, increasing their awareness and developing their leadership communication skills.
It was so awesome, because you were fire department and I was police department chaplain for 21 years, to have those two government agencies that we worked with. So I'm also the mother of Sam, let me say that, who helped me get into this video today. He was 3 years ahead of my son Chris, but it was Chris Will, Aaron, Cyrus, Luis, that became these best friends. They were together during the day, they were together after school, they had sleepovers, and then we took them on vacation together. So it was awesome. Maria, St. Hilda's and St. Hugh's is where they met. Tell us about what you saw with the friendship of our sons as they were growing up, and then we'll celebrate. We'll talk about how we celebrated them at their graduations, but tell us what you saw and observed about these sons as they were growing up.
Well, I mean, we were just so lucky that Aaron and Will and Chris and your other sons were able to attend St. Hilda's. Um,
Yes.
it was such a beautiful place. We were lucky that the class sizes were very small. The grade sizes were very small. So I felt from the beginning that they joined a family. And Aaron is an only child, so he found brothers and sisters at St. Hilda's. And in fact, I know as they got older, I know Aaron, started developing crushes on some of the girls, but it was almost like they're siblings. So,
Yeah.
nothing ever really came of any of them, but it's so beautiful because it was, I think from the beginning, just very natural,
Mm-hmm.
and easy. And I remember when Aaron and Chris, because Aaron and Chris are very tall, and I
Yes. Yes.
remember, I think it was at maybe Mrs. Borthwick's class. So is
Mm-hmm.
that
Kindergarten.
senior
Senior
kin,
K.
senior
SK.
kindergarten or first grade? But I remember they were doing a project on emperor penguins, and Aaron was in one class and Chris was in the other. And I think that is big competition of, I think Aaron, maybe they were both the size of an emperor penguin. So
Yes.
I
Yes.
think Chris is taller now,
Yeah,
but
they like inch by inch they would kind of keep up with each
yep,
other, you
yep.
know. But
Um,
Joanne, I think Chris slept at your house more weekends than he slept at our house because, and he was twice as tall. But he and Will had this unique friendship. They became co-presidents in eighth grade. And the only time he cried and had a meltdown because I had been offered presidency of a seminary on the West Coast, and he and Will had just been elected co-presidents. And he said, Mom, I have never asked you for anything, but please don't move now. What was
mm.
it like raising another son in your house every weekend?
Well, it was just such a really such a unique pleasure to have Christopher here as much as we did, and Joseph loved it as well. He really was like a third son. You've mentioned how tall he is, and we're not tall in our house, so I was so grateful to have Chris here too to reach all the things that we couldn't reach. But I remember what William said. I had to take Joseph to the doctor once for he had like a problem with his ear, and of course I took William and Christopher along because they were so little. And something funny happened, and we were all laughing very hard. And William said to me later, "Don't you think, Mom, every time Chris is here, we have so much fun. Something funny always happens." And it
Wow.
just spoke to the kind of the warmth and the connection that they had. They really were so much like brothers.
Yeah, and it was amazing because we went down to the inauguration. I had an extra ticket for the first inauguration of President Obama, and we were in this tight room with President Clinton. And I asked him to just turn around. We got these three guys, and we call it the three presidents. There's Will, Chris as co-presidents of St. Hilda's, and then President Clinton. So wonderful moments happened with us together. But all of us took our sons together. Eighth grade graduation, we took them on their first trip together. Do you remember those days, Maria? Do you remember when we took them away?
Yes, yeah, that was fun. We went to Virginia, right?
We went to Virginia for high school graduation, and then Nassau, Bahamas, I think. Or which
Yes,
way?
that's right.
No, I
Nassau,
think it's the
Bahamas.
opposite. It's the opposite
Okay.
because they were smoking cigars in, oh, I don't know if I should say that, but that was Nassau. So I think that was high school. But yeah, we went to Virginia, we went to Busch Gardens,
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
and we stayed at this beautiful place. That was so fun because, Aaron, don't tell him I said this, but he's always been scared of roller coasters and things like that.
Yeah.
And I think being with his friends and, being a little bit older, he was so proud that he had gone on all the roller coasters, and they were also
Yeah.
off by themselves. And then we were
Yeah.
off on our own. So I think they felt like, big men. So
Yeah.
that was really,
So
that was so fun.
we became friends early because we were in each other's homes, and we would come to Joanne's birthday parties and she would sing, and we would go to the Super Bowl parties. But I remember most of all my son, well, Chris and Aaron and Cyrus went away to boarding school. So the first real time that we were mothers without our sons was Mother's Day. And Joanne joined us at the Palm Restaurant. And
Mm-hmm.
that became our tradition on Mother's Day without our sons to eat together. Joanne, do you remember those days? And now the Palm is our favorite restaurant. But talk
Yes.
about those days.
Well, there was, we were so, I think all three of us really treasured being moms. And it was, a bittersweet realization when they grew and started to move away in the ways that they did. And I do think that we found solace in one another's connection, and also in, remembering how close they were as kids. And I want to just, recall what Maria said. I think they were like cousins.
Yeah.
They all had been in one another's homes so many times. And, to the point that you made also, Susan, our kids were, the Claws were kind of like a Benetton ad, where it was just like every ethnicity represented among these 5 kids. And it made me so proud and happy that they had that, I'm going to say, kind of blindness to, ethnicity, and that because they had this experience together and they were like cousins.
So Chris was African American, is African American. He didn't change. Luis is Dominican from the Upper West Side. Aaron was in a Jewish Italian household, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken.
Yes.
Will was in an Irish heritage household, and Cyrus an Asian household. So really, every ethnicity was represented, and they were blind to it. So I think cousins is a great representation. So going into our 5th chapters, you have done amazing things, and you're doing them now. But Maria, you went to nursing school later in life, became a nurse before you went to bed. Talked about making that decision and how it was important to you.
My marriage ended with Aaron's father, but I'm happy to say that we're still very close, which is great. And we raised Aaron together.
Yes.
But that, and while that was very sad in many ways, I think the good thing about it was it kind of pushed me into areas that I probably wouldn't have gone into. It made me do certain things I wouldn't have done. So I was on my own. I needed to support my son. I needed to support myself. I was working in the kind of health and wellness field. And a friend of mine at work one day said, I'm going to become a nurse. And I said, really? And then that just started me on the journey. I started researching it, talking to people. And then I ended up applying to and getting into New York University, their 15-month program. And she actually ended up not even pursuing it. But I got in, I got some scholarships, did really, really well. I was at the top of my class with some of my other older classmates. And, I graduated in 2011. I was 50 years old when I graduated, and I started working at NYU Langone Medical Center in 2012. So I had just turned 51. So don't ever say you're too old. I mean, for certain things, maybe, but I didn't let that hold me back.
We were so proud of you, and we celebrated with you together. Joanne, what did turning 50 mean for you? What did you do differently? I mean, did you expand your communications? What did you do differently from 50 forward?
Well, I'm doing a lot, I'm going to say more of the same, which is a lot of teaching and consulting, but one thing I think that personally connects the 3 of us is that all 3 of us are in professions where we look to help people, and we find ways to do that. So that is we have a, kind of a spirit connection in that way, that we want to, I'm going to say, minister in a certain way. Maria ministers from a health and saving lives perspective, and Susan, obviously, you minister as a minister, and in all the ways that you inspire and motivate. And I do as a teacher, as an instructor, looking to edge people up to have their lives be better. So I think I've realized that and embraced that more for myself.
Awesome. And right after the break, we're going to talk about spirit and faith. I was just with St. Hilda's on a digital virtual conversation about how the faith was important at St. Hilda's. So we'll be right back. We're going to take a break. Stay with us, and we'll be right back. Hi, I'm Dr. Sujay, but you can call me Dr. Fabulous. And I am so excited. My new book, My Fabulous Fifth Chapter, It's My Turn Now, has come out. You can get it on judsonpress.com or amazon.com. My Fabulous Fifth Chapter. Are you a woman over 50? Are you ministering to women over 50? Do you have someone in your life who's a woman over 50 who wants to be fine, fit, fabulous, have her faith intact, her family intact, and just have some plain old fun? Well, this is the book. It's holiday time. My Fabulous Fifth Chapter. Get yours now. Okay, and so now you know where to get this book. My Fabulous Fifth Chapter. It's my turn now. It's on judsonpress.com and on amazon.com. Great holiday gift. Great gift for you. 50 plus, because I was reading all these books when I would go on the road speaking, communicating, ministering, and I'd be held in these libraries, and I would go to the libraries and all the books were about men, older men, what they wanted to do with the rest of their lives, and most of them were white men. And so I was like, there's a book missing from this library. Something about women, something about faith, something about women over 50, how we enjoy our lives. And so I was saying before the break, I talked to Virginia Connor, who's the head of St. Hilda's still. She was there for all of our children. And she wanted to talk about how faith played a role. And I said how important it was, particularly with 9/11. We knew our kids were safe because she took them to the chapel. She explained what was going on, and we felt they were in good hands. But also at the beginning of every school year, she would invite all the clergy parents, including me, to start the school year. And then we had the gospel breakfast. How important was faith to you, both Joanne and Maria, in terms of raising our kids, but also in having a school that they had faith? I'm going to start with Maria.
So I was raised Catholic, and at one point in high school, I became very involved with the Franciscan Renewal Center. It wasn't a parish church, but they did have mass every Sunday, and I just loved the priest there. And I got involved in sacred dance, and there was also a music group, so I was part of that. I sing and I play the piano. But then in college, I kind of got away from it. And then when I moved to New York, I tried to find a Catholic church that was maybe a little bit more on the liberal side, because that's what I experienced in Phoenix. I couldn't find it. So I kind of got away from it. And then, of course, I married Jim, and he was Jewish, but he was really more agnostic. So when we found St. Hilda's, somebody had told us about it and said it was fabulous. And Jim had no objection to it being, I mean, he was a little bit, at first he was like, the Episcopal, but he was okay with it being Episcopalian. And I was happy that it had a spiritual component. And so I think to me, it wasn't like it was the most important thing, because we chose St. Hilda's for different reasons. But I was so happy that it had that component. And also I was even more delighted that even though St. Hilda's is an Episcopalian school, they welcome children from all faiths. We had Jewish children. Yeah. We had children that probably didn't, I mean, like Aaron, we didn't go to church. We also didn't go to synagogue. We celebrated the different holidays. And I started taking him to St. John the Divine sometimes. So
yeah, beautiful. Yeah.
We were kind of all over the place, but I just think no matter what, even if you're not in an organized religion, just having that spiritual component, learning to be a good person, a mensch, that was so important to us. So that was just a wonderful, like icing on the cake of this amazing school.
So Joanne, I want to hear from you. So we also found out this school, St. Hilda's St. Hugh's, an Episcopal school, for those who don't know, on the west side of New York, was founded by Mother Ruth, who was a biracial woman, Black and white woman, who was a nun. And so it was real important as a clergy parent for me when I found this school where faith was central as well as academics. Joanne, what does faith mean to you, and how important is it?
Well, I feel like St. Hilda's was a virtual co-parent of my kids, and I mean that. The father of William and Joseph is atheist and very ethical and wonderful person.
Mm-hmm.
But I was raised Catholic, and I was looking for some kind of I'm going to say organized spirituality to expose my kids to. St. Hilda's was, I mean, it was magical. I mean, we toured so many schools, and we had issues with all of them, other than St. Hilda's, where both Phil and I, my ex-husband, walked in, and both of us right away said, "We know this is the place. It just feels right." So it was a great balance of not only having, I thought, great academics, but also, as you've mentioned, kind of the spiritual component that was just easily integrated into every part of the school. Thursday was formal chapel. I loved chapel. I would go to chapel with me and the kids in chapel. And I was so moved by, I love to sing. They sang the hymn, the school hymn, and the national anthem. And I just felt like it struck the right note in terms of exposure to spiritual concepts and, the biblical history, and in an easy and comfortable way. It didn't feel strident or didactic. It was just a nice, warm embrace of spirituality.
Yeah, the school hymn, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God." I remember that, and they loved it. They would sing grace as well. So, what's important for all of those who are reading this book? Not everyone is married. Not everybody is going to be married, but some have been married and divorced. And all three of us speak very favorably about the fathers of our children. But there is life after separation, life after divorce. And so I want to encourage everyone to hear how important it is to still speak well of your children's father. They are the father of your children, and all of us do that. So you all now have new lives. Can you talk about dating in your fifth chapter? So Maria, you've remarried, but can you talk about dating in your fifth chapter for those who are reading this? And was it difficult? Is it difficult? And how do you navigate that now with adult children? So I'm gonna start with Maria, because you remarried, and just talk to us about dating in your fifth chapter.
Well, it was definitely harder than I thought it was going to be. I left the marriage around 2000, and I met my now husband, Peter, in 2004. So I definitely had some relationships and then was alone. And that was also the advent of Match.com. So I started doing the whole computer dating thing. So that was very interesting. I guess what I would say is, it is. Yeah, no, it's like getting a job, right? You have to try different things, talk to your friends, go out, let chance, kind of intercede. And then, and the online thing. But I have to say, when I met Peter, I met him in Vermont. My son and I were snowboarding, and we were staying at a place, and we'd go out for pizza often, because that's what you do with boys who are 10 years old. And that's when we met Pete. We sat at a counter. So I would recommend two things. One, if you are in a marriage and you like each other and you think there's a chance, I think you should definitely go to therapy and work on it, because the grass is not always greener on the other side. Now, with that said, I have no regrets. I think, I did the right thing, but just remember that. I think it's easy to take each other for granted. The other thing is, if you are trying to date, people do meet. They meet on Match.com. There's so many different sites now. I mean, so many compared to when I was doing it. And there are even sites for like older adults, which is great. But I would also say go out and sit at communal tables, sit at the counter. So that's how I met Pete.
That's awesome. And that's helpful because, you don't have to go to a bar. There are communal counters at pizza shops. And so that's really very helpful. Joanne, dating, mating, relating in your fifth chapter. Is it easy? And I will say, I just advised and helped mentor 2 people on Zeus who have found lifelong mates. So there are some online dating services that work. But talk to us about your experience with dating, mating, and relating.
Right. So, I mean, I was a very, I'm going to say traditional, I'm going to say, from a relationship perspective, a conservative person. I wanted to get married. I got married youngish and, was married for a long time. And when I split with my ex-husband, I had I think a little bit of a barrier. And that barrier was a filter of thinking that every relationship had to culminate in marriage. And that was my lesson, and that's just not the case. And so I've been fortunate in the work that I do in meeting people through that, and I can say that there was a lot of dating going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dating.
Yeah.
I'm in a relationship now, and it's really nice, and it's one that is, I'm going to say, matured beyond what I would consider the expectations that I had as a younger person, and again, the expectations of having children, obviously, and getting married, those traditional expectations. But I would I would say that if my own belief is that if you seek and ye shall find, right? Right?
I love
Seek and ye
I
shall
love
find.
it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you both for your honesty and for your help and your advice. And so in-person meeting is always, it's traditional, it's conservative, but it's always the best to meet the person and to meet the people around that person, because that gives you some clues. What do you do for fun? We know the job, we know the work, we know we love our sons. And if you've been seeing these pictures on this screen going through, these are our five fabulous friends: Claus, Chris, Luis, Aaron, Will, and Cyrus, who were best friends. And because of that, their mothers met. And three of us who are on today are best friends still to this day. What do you do for fun? I've been to your house for Super Bowl parties. I've been to your house for birthday parties, and we have a good time together. But what do you do for fun? Maria, will start with you, and Joanne will end with you.
Well, I think one of the great things about being where we are right now is that we have, I mean, I know, Joanne, you work full time, and Susan, I'm sure you're as busy as ever, but I also feel like I have more time now than I've ever had since I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been exciting. So I used to play the piano and I stopped for a long time. So I'm getting back into that. Of course, my husband and I, Peter, we moved to Bend because we love the outdoors. And so
Mm-hmm.
we mountain bike, we ski, cross
I
country,
love it.
downhill, we hike, we backpack. What else do we do? Yeah, we love
I was telling
music.
Joanne before we got on, I was in Harlem recently for a funeral, and Maria biked up from 72nd to 110th Street. So I love it. I mean, backpack, bike, and all. And we had coffee in the middle of Amsterdam Avenue. So thank
Yep,
you for joining me.
that was
Joanne, what
so
do you
fun.
do for fun?
Right. Well, I'm always so inspired when Maria talks about her like physical prowess. But I live in New York and I'm a theater person. So I like to go to
Mm,
the theater. I go to Broadway shows, once a week, I would say.
yes.
I'm probably seeing something. And it was very hard during the pandemic when things shut down. But I go to a lot of theater, concerts, and I like to meet up with people and talk and have dinner. And I very much enjoy what is called city living. And as you
Yeah.
said, Susan, I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and if you're from Pittsburgh, you can't not be a Steelers fan. You must be a Steelers fan. So I am a Steelers fan. I follow them avidly, and that is one of the things that is so great. It connects me to my two sons because we really do share that, the three of us.
I love it. And I love when you go back to your family, you have all your Steelers garb on. That's okay. My nephew just became a New York Jet, so I've got to wear the green
Oh,
stuff. He was
wow.
picked in the fourth draft, so I have the first
Wow.
professional football player in our family. But we
Wow.
just went to see Tina. Speaking of theater, and I believe if those proud Mary
Oh,
legs can still go at 80, my legs can still go too. So what I developed when I was living in Harlem, next door was the pool, was an Olympic-sized pool. And I began swimming again with the Harlem Honeys and Bears, a synchronized senior swim team. And so I have rediscovered how much I love the water. So wherever I am, either an indoor pool or an outdoor pool, I'm going to be in the water. And so that's my fun thing. It helps keep me toned. It helps me, kind of keeps me spiritual, because in that water, some stuff is happening with me and God. But most of all, I'm having fun. And so we hope that you've had fun on this fabulous fifth Friday with us. Well, Fabulous Friday. The book is my fabulous fifth chapter. It's my turn now. Two of my BFFs are with me, Maria Tassoni, Joanne Bainey. Thank you for sharing this time with us. Thank our sons, Chris, Luis, Aaron, Will, and Cyrus, for being such good friends, but for bringing moms together like us. And so it's been my honor and pleasure to host this fabulous Fifth Friday with you. And I hope that you'll do something fabulous for yourself, because you are fabulous. Thank you. God bless you. May you have a great end of the year and a wonderful beginning of the new year. I'm Dr. Sujay, or you can call me Dr. Fabulous. Thank you for sharing this time.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you.